90% of creators that I see have the very same problem that keeps them from getting more Instagram followers, which is struggling to convert viewers, or generally new people, into followers and eventually fans. And generally there's one fix, which is something that I call profile and audience journey optimization. Basically deconstructing the funnel that people go through consuming your content and then trying to maximize the takeaway on each step. So to take a look at this problem and to make you understand how you can actually optimize your Instagram profile for real organic growth, I took a look at one of the hundreds of profiles you guys have sent me in, because it seems like it's a pretty common threat among you guys not being able to convert new people into followers.
So 1, 2, 3, take my hand and come with me because you look so fine that I really want to make you mine.
By the way, this profile, or example if you will, also won a spot in my mentorship program, the IG Black Files 3.0, which is about to drop next week. So make sure to drop me a DM or an email to get your code. Now, if you think about it, there's generally 3 ways for people to follow you, sort of like the follow journey on Instagram. Number 1 is what I call the feed scrollers, who basically hit the follow button immediately inside Reels, and they don't really check out your profile, at least at first. Now, this is why some people grow quite a bit on TikTok as well, or on Reels, but generally this results in a way lower audience relationship, which can be fixed, by the way. We're gonna talk about that in a minute. Number 2 is what I call others. Yeah, I'm very, very creative. Basically, others who want to see what you have to offer, first before hitting the follow button. Check out your profile, your other content, which is why you kind of have to see this whole thing as a transaction. Your content, your profile, all of these things actually being the product, and their payment being the follow. As simple as that. And number 3 is something that we're not going to talk about today. Basically, it's if your profile or content gets shared by somebody else, which is a crazy signal for the algorithm. Like I said, we're not going to talk about that right now. Now, obviously, you have all of those 3 come together, but let's first take a look at number 1 a little bit closer. The Reels feed scrollers. Sounds like an awesome 80s band, huh? Oh man, I would have loved to be part of them. Anyway, take a look at the profile of Vicatari. It seems like most of your traffic actually consists of those Reels feed scrollers, because it seems like the only thing you focus on is actually Reels, which can be done, but not in the way you do it. By the way, this is a pretty good example on how the Reels algorithm actually works. It totally doesn't care about you or your profile or your previous followers. It just checks your content, tries to find a matching audience, and then it starts pushing it out to as many people as possible. But the smart kids might realize right now, while this whole thing is sort of a blessing for Reels creators, it's also a curse. Because a lot of the times people just watch your Reels, maybe even like it quite a lot, comment, engage with it a lot, but that's about it. They don't hit the follow button. So here's what you're gonna have to do. Every creator should always take a look at their profile and content journey from the audience's viewpoint. And generally, if you have issues with converting viewers or people into followers, there's a bunch of things you have to think about. First of all, a lot of people forget that actually, you need strong branding, because generally people only hit the follow button if they feel like they got value from your posts multiple times. Smart kids right now might have heard about the infamous marketing rule of 7, which we covered here in this channel quite a bit, meaning it takes generally at least 7 interactions for a person to either buy from you or actually hit the follow button in our example. And if you just don't have branding elements there, if you're not distinctive, you could just be any of those millions of accounts, and people are just not gonna remember you. It's as simple as that. You're just a sand part corn in the sea. Beach. I'll give you an example. Do you remember the last person sitting next to you in the subway? Probably not, unless it was the Joker. He has a very strong, distinctive brand in his looks, first and foremost, and the way he speaks. But maybe he did speak. What the fuck do I know? Anyway, take a look at the branding elements of your account, or this account actually. Yeah, no, not really. Actually, they're not there at all. 0 branding, just another one of those reposting accounts. Taking a look at it at first glance. Brandable name? Nope. I mean, it doesn't always have to be that. It's actually a little overestimated, but just wanted to say it. Then you have some distinctive branding in the profile picture to make people remember you just based off of that. Maybe, but not really. Not really. And then the most important, content that's immediately recognized as yours. Let's take a look. And where's my phone? Yeah. Not really. Now you might say, and I know lots of people are gonna say that because lots of people told me this exactly to my face. Have the audacity to say this actually.
But I'm just a reposting account. I just repost content. How am I supposed to brand this then? you know?
Well, that's actually not how it works, contrary to what lots of gurus tell you. But no, don't just repost content. You know, it's not gonna work in a sustainable way, at least. Add something of your own. Ever heard about Unilat, for example? It's a huge reposting / news account, actually. And if you take a look at their profile, they're immediately distinctive because they always add something to their content, whether it's commentary, more explanation, or something interesting in their captions. Now, let's take a look at a typical audience's journey in the case of Reels, for example. However, it's basically the same with any other traffic form. Explore page, hashtags, you name it. First of all, people go on the Reels feed, your video shows up there, and somebody who's interested watches your video. Duh. You know, usually people first get hooked by the video, then in case their interest gets piqued, or at least if it's being kept, they continue to want to gather more information. You know, first of all by checking out the caption, and then ideally after that, your profile. And if you get people to go through that natural progression, it's generally pretty good, and the algorithm will start recommending you like crazy after some time. But what a lot of people don't know and don't think about, it can pretty royally you over in terms of the algorithm. As we said many times before, people always need to be kept at a high point in terms of interest, meaning your value proposition and their current needs, they need to be aligned. You know, and if in any part of this journey they feel like they're being let down, and if it's just for a little bit, it's game over for you. Because nowadays people, maybe it's just the brain by itself, they're actively looking for ways out to get that next dopamine hit, that next piece of content. Maybe there's something interesting out there, and people scroll for hours trying to keep the brain sort of occupied. It's sort of like smoking a cigarette, if you think about it. Which is why I personally generally think long form videos are better for the whole future of the world. We're gonna see in 15 years, I guess. But yeah, that's just how it is. Anyway, let's go back to the Instagram algorithm and no! People spend time, watch it over again, read the caption, or because you have a call to action at the end of your reel, they then proceed to check out your profile. And as we know from various sources, including my own research, profile taps are pretty important to rank you higher in the algorithm. Now, this profile actually being an extreme example, but just imagine people, see your content, tap on your profile, see that it's pretty empty, that you have zero post, no caption, no bio, basically no branding that makes the content immediately recognizable. Why should they follow you? And guess what? They're gonna leave again without any actions on their part, making the algorithm think, well, and rightfully so, by the way, well, this profile is not so valuable, especially in terms of keeping interest and keeping attention, keeping people happy. So I think I'm gonna stop recommending it, which is hopefully why you now understand why profile optimization is actually so important. So, what can you specifically do? First of all, have regular posts there as well that equally provide as much value as your reels, provided your reels actually have value. I took a look at your reels and yeah, there's a lot of room for improvement. Like I said, virtually no branding. In your case, you could just start with having a distinctive caption style. With certain colors or something definitely missing here. I understand you might be trying something out here, but it's just not really there, as well. Also, there's not a real content strategy there, to be honest. So what's the goal of your account? Why would people actually stay? Why would people want to come back to you? What's your unique value proposition? Then, obviously the bio. In your case, in the case of this profile, is actually have a bio first of all, and then based on your content research and audience research that you should have done up until now, use that space in the bio to speak. And again, smart people might notice a pattern here, hook those people in, making them feel like they need to follow you, because your content, in addition to your value proposition in your bio, just makes it a no-brainer for people to not hit the follow button, because that's exactly the content they've been looking for. Now, in my program, the IG Black File, which you have won actually, like I said, shoot me a DM and you're gonna get a code once we drop next week. We do actually have specific exercises and worksheets for you in there to filter this out pretty well if you actually take the time, a few hours to figure this whole thing out for yourself, because it's different for every account. Now, here's the thing. Obviously, the best profile optimization doesn't help you at all if your content doesn't do its best to keep people engaged. And ideally follow this audience journey that we talked about before. And I see it especially with Reels that 90% of the time people make the same mistakes all over again, resulting in bad views. And to make sure you don't make any of these horrible but easy to fix mistakes, watch this video next and tell me in the comments actually that you came over from here. And also make sure you get on the waiting list for the IG Black File 3.0, which is gonna drop pretty soon right there.